Anthony Grassi here for College.town at the 2025 NACSA convention. Happy to sit down with Slippery Rock University Director of Athletics, Roberta Page. Roberta, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So I want to talk big picture D2 stuff. As the chair of the management council, we just got out of the session that the future of small college athletics is kind of the vibe around it. I don't know if that was the official name, but we'll start with the survey that Division II conducted around this new strategic planning process that is ongoing for the division. What have been the initial results that have kind of stood out to you from that survey?
Number one, what I enjoy about Division II is that we continue to do the surveys. I think we pride ourselves a lot that we want to know what the membership is thinking,
For sure.
right? So it's extremely important, and we always try to tell folks, although it was a long survey, take the time because it's important for our future, right? So I don't think there were many major shocking surprises to me. I think everybody knows that championships is the top priority, I think. And so in the division, that's why we do what we do in athletics, is not only for the education, I don't mean it that way, but we all want to get to the championships and make it the best experience that we can and get the most kids that we can into our championships. So having that come out did not surprise me that that's at the top of the list for our future thinking. One of the things that we're going to be looking at is, when you talk about championships, it's, the per diem, how important that is. Our budgets, unless I'm different than half the people across the country, our budgets aren't going up. So when you get to the championship, you want to be able to pay and cover all of your costs coming out of there. So that's always going to come up as the forefront of increasing that. But I would just say the championship access is always going to come out on top.
Around championship access, there's been two big changes within Division II. On all team sports, the access ratio has changed. What is the feedback so far been from your conference, your membership, your coaches, the people that you are plugged into, of now that the access ratio has changed from 1 to 6.25 to 1 to 6? What is the vibe around that?
If you want me to be completely honest, I haven't heard much feedback on it.
Okay.
I think it was a no-brainer, right? So I think when things are like, yeah, that makes sense, there wasn't a lot of discussion. I think people are happy about it, or I probably would be hearing differently. So I think people are excited that the access ratio is what it is, because if it was different, that's when I would hear most of the chatter.
The championship piece that did have a little more chatter was the expansion of football, moving from 28 to 32 for this upcoming season. Do you think that is the settlement? Do you think things are now settled amongst the football crew? Because there was much more conversation, especially leading up to that. When we were sitting in NCAA convention in Nashville, there was a lot more conversation around what is the future of Division II football, what is the right setup for it. This seems to be a big piece of that conversation now being settled.
Yeah, I think, backing up a little bit, when we went to the AQ, which football now has the AQ, the bracket expansion made sense, right? And so I think that was on the docket for a lot of people. I think, first of all, the AQ on the convention floor, when that passed, there was a loud applause from certain sections of the room that just have not had that access into the championship. And then it was kind of like a no-brainer. Once that went into effect, having the bracket expansion, that's what we wanted to do. That's where we want to be. And I think for right now, that's kind of settled the waters a little bit.
You mentioned the applause by some, the non-applause maybe by others. What do you think that are there other things still to be ironed out with maybe those that applauded versus those that did not applaud? And this most probably applies to the football group.
Oh yeah. So that's what the applause was for,
right?
And I just think to me, it was the right thing to do, and that's just from a personal standpoint. I believe that. I think to have that in every other sport, but except the one sport that a lot of people say is the most visible, the highlight, it was the right thing for Division II. Some people said, but that could hurt your conference. I know that, right? We're well aware of that. But sometimes you have to take yourself out of that lens and look to say what's the right thing and what's the right thing for the division. That was the right thing for the division.
Being on management council chair, this is not your first tenure on management council, correct? So how, maybe from the first time you were on management council to now, has that being on that group changed your thinking around that? Because I can imagine somebody that's in your chair is your focus, your job, what you are paid to do, is to do what is in the best interest of the Rock, not necessarily the division. So there's a dynamic there at play. You don't work, you're not in the national office, but there's a push and pull there where it is in the best interest of you as a leader in this space to have that interest, but it may not be the best for where you sit on a daily basis.
And that's amazing that you see that, right?
That's the thing that sticks out to me all the time.
Yeah. So
I
think sometimes as I have gotten older, and I hope I've gotten a little bit wiser, when you get an opportunity to lead a group like the Management Council, and you see it from all different parts of the country right now, it does give you a different lens than when I was on campus the first time as a young administrator, and my focus was when I was at Shippensburg. I was just at Shippensburg, and that's where my focus was. Then I went to the national office and worked there for 12 years, and that really opened up my eyes to now being the second time around for the Management Council. I'm seeing things a little bit different, and I don't know if it's my age, I don't know if it's my tenure of being where I was, where I am now, but it's doing the right thing. It's taking yourself out of that me, and what's the right thing for us. And some of that probably is maturity, too. I think I've matured through the role. I always try to do that now, is what's the right thing for not only my school, right, but for us. And because we are the membership, and sometimes we have to continue to tell people when they get angry, oh, the NCAA did this, the NCAA, well, that's us, right? And so if you're mad at them, you're mad at us, right? So I just believe in the heart of heart, it was the right thing to do. Will it affect us? I hope not. We just need to take care of business on our own and let it play out.
There were a couple other management council things, but I did want to come back to that later. The management council decision to not push forward a 5-year waiver, obviously that's still under consideration, but the initial decision when Division I made that move was to not accept that or not enact that. What is the conversation in the room around that? Because that is clearly a very big point of conversation amongst folks in and around Division II.
It was a great conversation. I mean, and I loved the conversation. And the conversation helped. I mean, that's why we do what we do, right? You present it, you think about it, and at the time, it was just, I mean, the people sitting around the room, it was just more of, why are we doing what we're doing? What is our end result? And our end result doesn't have to be what Division I is doing. Our end result doesn't have to be what Division III is doing. That's why we can be unique with who we are within the division. And really, there's conversation. And some people, you probably always have your outliers.
Right.
But the long and short of it was people wanted to have our students come in, play 4 years, get your degree, and move on, right? We don't want to be here for 8 years doing, college Division II sports in most people's minds. So I love the dialogue. Sometimes all I have to do is ask the question, and I get to sit back and watch and just try to moderate it. But it was a good discussion, and that's where we landed, and we were comfortable with the decision. But yeah, we'll talk about it again, as you know, and it'll be interesting to see, maybe status quo is where we just need to stay. We'll let the membership decide that.
The other big interesting piece around championships is the idea of a selection metric, similar to what your peers in Division III have done with the MPI. What's the latest on that conversation? Maybe where do you see the right lane for D2 to go?
Yeah, it's interesting because Champs Committee is going to meet in a couple of weeks, so this is a little bit ahead of the game. I just think over time, again, I'm going to go back to my time at the NCAA when I had to go through that with selections. It's hard not to have subjectivity when you're looking at selection criteria. And unfortunately, I think there are times when not everybody was taking the time to do their role to really look at all the numbers the same way. And when you have 8 people or 30 people, it doesn't matter. Everybody's looking at things differently.
Right.
So in today's day and age, with the amount of work I think that people do, with the amount of work put on the NCAA even, if this can at least give time back to people, and we know that the metrics itself is picking, maybe have 1 or 2 that maybe would have gotten in if you would have gone the old way, but it's really selecting the same people. Personally, I'm for it. Back in the day, we used to have people that would sit on these ranking calls, selection calls for 8 hours. I don't want my coach sitting on a call 8 hours a day, or my associate AD sitting on a call 8 hours a day. If this is actually doing the same thing and doing it correctly, why not look at it? Why not use it? It seems to have worked for D3. They like it. We'll see what that does to the regional advisory committees. Maybe we use them in a different manner. There's talk about using them for educating the sport committees, educating the membership, solidifying site reps. Maybe we just use them differently. But I just think if there's a metric to do it, it saves everybody time. It's still selecting the right teams. I'm supportive of it.
Has there been a decision as of now made on, because obviously there was discussion around the NPI. Obviously the NPI can be tweaked differently based on the sport, how they change the dials. There was discussion around KPI as a potential metric. Has the division settled on a metric, and I guess what's the timeline for potential implementation should that go forward?
So I think Champs Committee meets in like 2 weeks, I think it is, where they will make a decision.
Okay.
And they could have it implemented, I believe, for the fall. So we got to get moving. But I think they've seen enough presentations on both. They've discussed it a lot. We're also going to hear about it at our next session this afternoon to the membership. Karen Kirsch is going to join the group to talk about the KPI, what it looks like, what that's going to do, the timeline. So if anybody has any questions, that's the best time to come. I think the session's early this afternoon.
Do you feel that may be too quick of a turnaround?
I don't. I think, again, I might be an outlier, but I don't schedule differently. I'm not going to change my schedule because of the selection model that you've implemented. I think we can do the education. I trust the NCAA that they'll do the best to educate folks on how that will be rolled out. We'll have to rely on our conference commissioners to help us do that. But I think we're prepared. I think we've heard enough about it that people know it's potentially coming. But I don't think that the good thing is it doesn't change what you're doing for your scheduling moving forward.
We'll get you out on the last topic of the future of Division II. Not a small topic, so I understand. How would you say the positioning of the division is right now?
I love it. I think I'll tell you, and I'm biased, right? I have been in Division II my entire life, but I believe in our leadership there. We have our operating plan right now set to go out till 2032. But what I love about the division is every so many years, we'll go back and see if what we thought we wanted out of something like regionalization. After it's been implemented for so many years, we go back to the membership, ask the questions, is it still meeting what it is that we wanted it to meet? We ask the membership a lot of feedback. Is the per diem really where we need to be? If not, where do we need to go? What does our budget look like? What about all the initiatives that we're offering? We look at the festival as one of the options. So I don't think we're afraid to survey the membership. We may not like all the answers that we get, but that's why you ask the membership what they want. And then we make the decisions based on that. And I believe our leadership with Maritza and Terry and Ryan and Karen, I think they have positioned us in the best possible way. And I just think, I think I quoted earlier, we're at 293 schools right now. I think we have 11 schools in the membership process that we're looking at. Now we're going to lose a couple to maybe are closing or merging or reclassifying. But I think our number at about 303, 305 is where we want to be. And it sounds to me like, we're right there. So I feel really good about where we are.
There are a ton of challenges around athletics, around higher education, around macroeconomics, all areas. What do you see as some of the biggest opportunities for the division moving forward?
Opportunities are interesting because I don't know if we know yet what the House settlement is going to do for Division II, Division III, NAIA. It might provide more opportunities for some student athletes to maybe want to see the benefit of maybe being a Division II student athlete. So I think that's a great opportunity. I'm interested to see, because nobody has asked me this question yet, I'm interested to see what technology looks like for us in the future. Technology, everything from technology within our sports, right? So everything with replay, right? Everything with communication systems with the sideline and what AI is going to do for us. What AI looks like to our sports communication directors. Does that help them? Does that hurt them? I think we're going to be looking at technology where, as we live stream and we use Huddle, can they do our statting for us, right? Does that ease of burden for my sports communication folks? Does it help them writing their stories or the social media? But you could ask me that in 5 years, and I don't think some of these jobs have even been created yet, right, with just where technology is going. I just don't want us to go so fast that we burden ourselves budget-wise. Like we don't, as I said earlier, we don't always have to do what Division I is doing, right? And I think we need to be cognizant of that with some of the decisions that we're making moving forward. But I think we need to stay our course. And like I said earlier, sometimes it's okay to pump the brakes a little bit and not be so reactive. So I don't want to react to the House settlement. What does that look like? Because I'm not really sure that they know, right? So I don't want to go crazy. I just think we need to stay our course, go with our operating plan, stay where we are with our budget, where we are financially, and I think we'll continue to be successful.
Excellent. Well, Roberta, thank you so much for joining me today.
My pleasure. Thank you.